Welcome to Universal Man. My name is Mark Webb and I'm here to help you sharpen your masculine edge. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the polarity of masculine power. There's this idea out there that in order for a man to be balanced, he needs to get in touch with his feminine side. I think this is bullshit. I don't think any man is going to become a better man by becoming more womanly. Instead, I think a man, in order to be balanced, needs to tap into both his positive and negative sides in order to be whole. But I think many men today are very lopsided in nature, and this renders them impotent at best or destructive to themselves and others at worst. To figure out how to fix this problem, keep listening. Alright, so my core thesis in this channel is that men and women are biologically and psychologically different. And because of this, men and women need a separate set of internal tools in order to thrive. Basically, a man is not going to thrive using a feminine tool set, and a woman is not going to thrive using a masculine tool set. You can kind of make it work a little bit, but ultimately you're going to be running into resistance internally and externally. At the heart of the masculine tool set is dominance. And dominance is basically the ability to push rather than be pushed. I believe men are particularly adept at wielding this overt dominant energy because they evolved as a primary threat remover. Everything from their way their brain works, to their hormonal systems, to their physical strength is aligned with direct confrontation of threats. On a base level, I believe that this refers to removing physical threats, like that tiger attacking the village or that invading horde. But I believe this dominant energy has been leveraged by men to address other kinds of threats as well. You can think of much of the social and technological advancement that has shaped this world. Much of it has come from men who have learned how to leverage this form of dominance to solve other kinds of problems. Now, don't get me wrong, women can use this energy too, and they certainly do, but I believe on average, women are less hormonally equipped to thrive in the sort of consistent, direct, aggressive confrontation that dominance requires. And I believe that women have kind of developed they have their own dynamics of power that I can get into in another video if you guys are interested in that. Now, while many men, I believe today, they see how important dominance is to masculinity, I think there are many men who are seriously struggling to actually cultivate a level of dominance in their life that would allow them to even make the most basic changes, the most basic impact on the world, the ability to get meaningful employment, have meaningful relationships, even just developing self-control and discipline. Many men are seriously struggling to even get those kind of baseline levels of dominance up to par. I think in many cases men really want to be this dominant force of goodness, but they just struggle to generate consistent enough power to actually show up as that hero for themselves and others. And I think the main reason behind this, or at least one of the main reasons behind this, is that men are lopsided in their own polarity. See, dominance is only half of the equation. There's another half of the equation that really drives and incites the energy to be dominant. And I think many men are really lacking in that department. So what is the full equation of masculine power? Well, I believe on one hand, we've got the positive side, and that is dominance. And by positive, I don't mean that it's good or happy. By positive, I mean, positive pressure. This is the outward, the push force, okay? And so dominance is the way in which, a man pushes on the world to change it. But the other side of the equation, the negative side of the equation, I believe, is honor. Instead of pushing on reality to change it, honor instead actually creates a space to celebrate and honor something that already exists. So basically, dominance is a push, honor is a pull, it's a vacuum, it's an honorary space that is created. So instead of changing reality, it's celebrating something already in reality. An analogy you can kind of think of is that honor is what fills up your reservoir of energy and what pulls in that good energy that inspires you, invigorates you, directs you, motivates you, that sort of thing. And then dominance is your capacity to actually turn that energy and desire into meaningful action. When you wield both aspects of your masculinity, then not only will you be filled with a bunch of energy, but you'll also be able to use it. And I think this is where a lot of men struggle. They have this idea of dominance, they got a clear picture of it, but they're just kind of stuck in this pit of apathy. They don't have the ability to consistently generate the psychological motivation necessary to, make the changes that they want to make. And there's a lot of factors that go into this, but and I've talked about in my other videos. Check out my one about how quitting porn is the rite of passage for the modern man. I hit on a number of the issues that are in the way of men thriving today in that. But I think another big piece of it is that men have lost their honor. And so what can we do about this? What is the solution? Well, I believe that what you have to do, if you want to learn how to bring honor back into your life, you have to understand the dynamics of how it works. And I think at the root of honor is what you could call ritual action. Ritual action is any sort of action that's designed to populate your mind with the appropriate thoughts, beliefs, and values necessary to take positive action. A ritual action is some sort of honorary action that, its main purpose is to create a brain state change in you. It's to kind of program your brain in a useful way. Religions have used the power of ritual action for thousands of years. And in many cases, I think we've used the power of ritual and honor without even really knowing what we were doing. So, let's think about it. Like, a typical example, you look at a Christian, okay? A Christian man, imagine he wants to dominantly express his Christian values in his life. Well, if he wants to do that, chances are if he uses the traditional rituals of, authentic prayer and going to church and reading the Bible, that sort of thing, he's going to be much more likely to actually be able to be motivated to express his Christian values than someone who doesn't engage in those rituals, who just kind of, says, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, but then doesn't actually do anything to practice their Christianity, right? That person didn't actually create space. They didn't honor their faith. And so because of that, they're not going to be inspired to actually act it out. And this holds true for pretty much any religious tradition. All religious traditions got their rituals. But the thing is, we've pretty much thrown out a lot of our traditional rituals here in the West. And I think this is not to our benefit in many cases. Those rituals we've developed over thousands of years to create stable societies. And what we've replaced them with in many cases are vapid, unhelpful rituals. In a sense, you could call it idolatry. It's the act of honoring something that fills you with thoughts, ideas, motivations, values that don't actually serve you. And so what happens is if you kind of you can think of it in terms of almost like a mental diet. If you fill your brain with junk, you're going to get junk motivation. And so, if you're constantly consuming porn, all you do is play video games and watch mainstream media, then, those rituals, those things don't necessarily honor the things that are going to serve you. In fact, oftentimes they honor very kind of vapid, hedonistic things that fill you with desires that are only destructive. They fill you with the desires for things that don't actually make your life better or are unattainable. They're desires for fantasy rather than for the actual good things that you could accomplish in your life. So I believe the core solution here is to take inventory of your rituals. Take inventory of what are the things that you spend time ritually honoring each day. And you want to trade out the bad rituals for good ones. You want to make sure that you are actively populating your mind with useful thoughts, ideas, and values so that you can be motivated then to act on those such things. And, you want to make sure you're very conscious of any places where you're allowing junk motivations to enter into your mind and negatively influence you. If you feel like you're a total mess, then I would recommend starting with basic rituals of self-care. I mean, this is stuff like hygiene, like making sure you're showering and sleeping, making sure that you keep your living space clean. And the reason that these are really powerful is because these are ways in which you can honor your own dignity. And your dignity is the root of most of your other power. Basically, you have to decide that you are worth the effort and worthy of the reward of positive action. And until you do that, until you get that kind of internalized, you're going to continue to treat yourself like crap because you think you are crap. So spend time honoring yourself in healthy, authentic ways, and that's going to give you more energy to do other things. And eventually, taking care of yourself becomes second nature, and that's when you can really turn your eyes outward and begin seriously helping others. So that's it. I hope you found this video helpful and useful. Please, if you did, please please subscribe, maybe share this with a friend, follow me on social media, all that sort of good stuff. You can always go to universalman.com, sign up for my newsletter. I've got a bunch of cool stuff that is going to be coming out here soon that I'm working very hard on. But other than that, stay sharp, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.